Ahoy! The area of Chasm has a number of weird things going on. There's a giant glowing mushroom, an upside-down city, presumably hanging from giant tree roots, and probably even ghosts. Let's check more such things in this video. Number 7. Dangerous gases. Many areas of the chasm have these weird, red-violet, wavy, see-through gases. You can walk through it, and it won't affect you. Some say these are the farts left behind by aged aha. Let's not go there. If you add some pyro or electro to them, they
deal AoE pyro damage.
So if you've recently used Bennett's burst and decide to walk through them, it is not a good idea. Characters inflicted with pyro or electro will be heated indiscriminately,
dealing AoE pyro damage.
If they bother you too much, just use a Nemo to clear them. However, they do spawn back in a short time. Number 6. This Uminsel tree branch. This is the only ley line branch in the entire chasm. And you know what this reminds me of? This one, in Dragon Spine. They do look very similar, even in terms of the size. This will mean that it should also be around the same age as the one in Dragon Spine. This one was planted by Salvin Dagna's princess in her last attempt to revive their great white tree, which was destroyed by Celestia at the time. Maybe, just like Dragon Spine, the chasm's original ley line tree may have been destroyed. It could have happened when the celestial nail descended from the sky over 6,000 years ago. But who was it that planted this ley line branch here? It is still a mystery. Number 5. Zamoran, or as Paimon calls it, Shisharoom, or Shining Room. This shroom is not from Chasm, but instead, its spore arrived here from Sumeru, hundreds of years ago. It has a weird glowing effect, which Hidiv believes is very likely due to the celestial nail. The weirdest part is that it can talk. Yes, it is a giant, talking, glowing mushroom. A Shisharoom. Now, whether it used to talk before it started to glow, or after, is unknown. It has named itself Zamoran, and believes itself to have a great sense of humor. It says it has sensed someone identical to me before. If you've played the Archon quest, Requiem of Echoing Depths, you will remember that my dumbass abyss twin has also visited the chasm. So that does make sense. But when talking about Paimon, it says it has never sensed anyone like her in its entire lifetime. This confirms that no one like Paimon has ever visited Chasm, making Paimon the one and only Paimon. Its name, Zamoran, is actually not its own. It says it named itself after someone called Zamoran from Sumeru. Shisharoom also has some interesting philosophies. It says the many-legged are inferior to the four-legged, and the four-legged are inferior to the two-legged, so naturally, the two-legged are inferior to the legless. The legless being Zamoran. When Paimon talked about eating Zamoran, it says, a bite on the mushroom today, another bite tomorrow, and 100 days later, there shall be no Paimon left in Paimon, but only mushrooms. Unfortunately, the tiny brain of Paimon couldn't comprehend this joke. Number 4. Speaking of mushrooms, there's a guy who was lost in Chasm. Uncle He survived only by eating mushrooms. There are indications that he has also eaten floating fungus too. Yes, these adorable looking things. He ate them. He refers to the mushrooms that he eats as mushroom meat. It completely destroyed his mental and physical well-being. His appearance changed, and all he thinks about is eating more mushroom meat. After we rescue him and bring him to the surface, he recovers most of his body. But his obsession with mushroom meat is still there. He even fights with the fake treasure hoarder to eat his chingshin, which he thinks are mushrooms. The reason he started eating mushrooms was because of an itching in his ears. When he was lost in the chasm, he started hearing voices that tempted him to eat mushrooms. Hidiv later discovers that he found fungal spores in his ears, which may have caused the itching. This makes me wonder if similar spores allowed us to talk to Zamoran. Number 3. The Wish Granter. We find this guy, who smells of gunpowder. Chi Ding is near the Celestial Fragments area. He asks us to find a toy, which he lost in this area. He bought it for his little daughter, but now he cannot find it. Before the search, we hand him over to Jinwoo. As we search for the doll, we find abyss creatures around the area. The gunpowder box we find also smells the same as Chi Ding. Soon after, we find a little girl. It turns out that she is Chi-nan, Chi-ding's daughter. She says she sneaked into the chasm without informing her father. Surprisingly, she knows where the doll is. When we follow her, she starts playing with some abyss creatures. At this point, you should be wondering, what the f*** happened to the wish granter? Why is the narrator talking about random NPCs? Well, we'll get there, when we get there. Where was I? She mentions that the abyss monsters tried to catch her, but failed every time. We soon find the doll nearby, but then suddenly, Chi-nan disappears. When we go back to the surface to return the doll to Chi-ding, he says he never asked for it. He even mentions that his daughter is a grown-up and works in the ministry, that she is not a little girl anymore. He blames this all on the wish granter for making him hallucinate about the toy. It turns out that the celestial fragment at this place is what they called as the wish granter. Other miners who entered its area also suffered from hallucinations. This wish granter was the actual reason why the Chishing decided to seal the chasm too. Chi-ding was supposed to destroy this wish granter using the gunpowder he brought down there. I guess this explains why he smelled like it. But as the quest ends, we see the little girl one last time, following behind Chi-ding as he heads back home. In the end, it is clear that whatever that was that followed Chi-ding home was definitely not his daughter. So, what happened? One theory suggests that we and Paimon were hallucinating Chi-nan's existence. Another theory suggests that little Chi-nan was created from the wishes of Chi-nan and Chi-ding. When Chi-nan was small, she and her father both wanted to spend more time with each other, but couldn't because of her studies and her father's work. So in a way, the wish granter tried to grant this wish of Chi-ding, but in a very, very creepy way. But this creates the question, what is the little girl? Is it a ghost, an illusion, an abyss monster, ley line memories? It can be any of these, and none of these. In the end, Munning suggests us to pretend that we didn't see anything. Number 2, these giant tree roots. In one of the corners of Chasm, we can find this area with giant tree roots. Paimon says there's branches and leaves that grow against gravity at this place. You can also find 3 elemental totems below. To unlock them, we have to collect these shiny buds growing from these branches. It is quite obvious that these 3 totems represent our journey through the 3 regions so far, as activating them all rewards us with a special item called the Shriveled Seed. Paimon says it reminds her of a story from Sumeru, but doesn't reveal it, just like how she hasn't revealed where she's from, and how she drowned in a lake when she can literally float. I swear if you keep hiding more info, I'll lock you up in a room with Xiangling. Anyways, the 3 totems might represent that Sumeru story will depend on the traveler's actions in the 3 regions so far. I am not sure what giant climbable and walkable roots and branches are supposed to represent. Maybe there are more of these in Sumeru. There's also plenty of mushrooms in this small area, so Sumeru might have those as well. And lastly, there's this large dendro slime, which should represent the dendro element of Sumeru, hiding in the ground. It's an understandable reaction. After all, I did arrive here after wiping half of all living beings in Chasm. Number 1, fossils. Yes, Chasm has fossils of ancient aquatic creatures. Hidiv theorized that every single fossil in Chasm was formed at the exact same time. When the celestial nail fell into the chasm, it instantly fossilized all the aquatic creatures living here. This also suggests that the chasm actually had water underneath it in the past. But after the celestial nails incident, it has become what we see today, all the water being supposedly vaporized. It explains some of the weird aquatic plants that are found in the chasm. That's all the weird things I found in Chasm. Let me know in the comments below what more interesting things you've seen in the chasm. I'll see you again in the next video.